Oh boy! I wonder what magical Disney phenomenon we're going to be looking at today on Disney+Pals.
Well, this is still a Disney property, but it's totally Power Rangers. And it's not on Disney Plus, so
It's on Netflix.
Today we're Netflix Pix pals.
Hold on, Helmet. Firstly, just how many shows do you want to bombard this channel with? Secondly, how is Power Rangers in any way related to Disney?
Well, they own
Disney actually owned Power Rangers, so there was an era of Power Rangers during the early 2000s, starting with, I believe, Lightspeed Rescue all the way up to RPM. So you had Lightspeed Rescue, you had Time Force, Wild Force, Ninja Storm, Dino Thunder, SPD, Mystic Force, which we're looking at today, Operation Overdrive, Jungle Fury, and RPM. So pretty much a whole decade of just Disney era. And it used to air on Jetix. Anyone else remember Jetix? You know,
I do.
Yin Yang Yo and Witch and Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go. God, that's a mouthful of a title. Why couldn't they just make it shorter?
Sonic X, yeah. The list goes on.
I hate to be that guy, Cher, but I actually have to correct you. The Disney era, technically, it's argued whether or not the Disney era started with Wild Force. Some people say it did, some people said it doesn't. But it definitely started with, Ninja Storm. Lightspeed.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was either Lightspeed or Ninja Storm. I knew it was in the 2000s. I just couldn't remember. It's okay. Yep. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. I'm really sick right now, but that's okay. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect.
Hannah Montana, 20, whenever Hannah Montana. Power Rangers, so.
I need to ask. Yeah?
Go ahead and ask. No, you ask.
So, if Power Rangers really was briefly owned by Disney, how did Disney get the rights to Power Rangers?
Well, they bought.
Oh, yeah, but I'm not aware of this, and I don't think many people are aware of this either.
Well, the original plan was not to continue Power Rangers. They were gonna.
It wasn't after Power Rangers in Space. That was supposed to be the series finale.
Well, okay, it's like a precursor to this. So, In Space was going to be the last one. But then, In Space was so good, it got several more. And because of that, Disney was like, okay, what if we buy Power Rangers and air it in reruns? So they were going to, do each of the different things, like Mighty Morphin, Lightspeed, and Time Force, and just re-air it on the Disney Channel. But it was then proposed to them that if they took their filming studio and went to New Zealand, it would be much cheaper and a good way to appeal to boys. So Disney did choose to keep it going. Although they really just, you know how everyone jokes that they bought Muppets as if they were at a garage sale and saw something cheap that they kind of liked? That's basically what they did with Power Rangers, where it was oh, okay, I guess we can just sort of rerun this and kids will watch it and it will bring people to us for a little bit. And then last minute they decided
Jetix. We can also put it on Jetix, even though that channel was short-lived. May Jetix rest in peace. Please bring back Jetix. I need my Super Robot Monkey Team and Witch and Yin Yang Yo and Get Ed and Puka. Puka is life. Puka is so freaking cute. So good. I love Puka.
I don't know. Where's Puka? What's Puka doing? But doesn't matter right now. So Power Rangers kept going, being the weird beast that it is, and has continued this entire time to grow. A lot of people stop watching after the first season. That's why the first season is the most popular one. But it was decided after Power Rangers in Space that each season would be a different story. So Lost Galaxy was a different story. Time Force was a different story.
And
this one,
story.
that we're looking at today, Mystic Force, was a different story. And I gotta say, like, their whole plan of, oh, maybe if we just rerun these, it will reach out to, like, kids and boys and stuff. Yeah, that worked, because this is when I went from being a casual Power Rangers watcher to a diehard Power Rangers fan.
Ah, no wonder this episode is so important to you.
Although people do say that Mystic Force isn't one of the good seasons, I still enjoy it. Mainly because of like the fantasy aspects, but I think the main reason why people didn't like Mystic Force, besides the theme song, like come on, the theme song, okay, yeah, there's rapping in it, but come on, it's still epic. You can't deny the here come the Power Rangers, Mystic Force. You can't deny that. And I think the main reason why people didn't like Mystic Force was because of the Red Ranger. He's not the best Red Ranger, but hey, at least he's not Troy.
Oh yeah, Troy. Troy sucks.
Something wrong with that big wooden horse?
Now, Troy is like one of the worst Red Rangers. He just is a bad leader and a bad person and a bad actor. He's just not good.
Bland. So bland.
But I do think one of the faults with Mystic Force, which ironically enough this episode avoids, is that instead of focusing on the Rangers themselves and like the characters, they do way too much with side characters. Like they get lost in like comic relief stories. They focus way too much on like Udana and her story. And the Rangers just seem to be there and experiencing it, but they're not really. It's less about Power Rangers and more about like this ancient story with Power Rangers in it. I think that's the issue. But before we continue, I also wanted to say real fast before we continue what I was about to continue. SPD was like when I really got into it. And
yes,
this season,
I love SPD. It's my favorite season. My favorite season. I have all 5 volumes of SPD, and every time I went to the laundromat with my parents on Friday nights, I was on a computer watching SPD until their clothes were done and we can go home. Watch. It was either Power Rangers or Barbie.
So me and Cher have kind of like naturally shared our experience with Power Rangers here. Callum, what was your experience with Power Rangers growing up? Did you watch it at all?
I did watch several episodes of Power Rangers back when I was a young kid. Just, the Saturday morning gig. Get up, you get your breakfast, you watch the television, and then at one point in the children's program comes the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And I can't remember which show it was exactly, but there was a flashy intro with some girl in some kind of white dress, and then they were all fighting, and basically the structure was they would all talk. There was some kind of dojo master, some kind of, maybe I think it was some kind of small hamster or something. Again, my memories are kind of vague.
That's
kind of rocky. Ninja Storm. Okay, that might have been Ninja Storm, but could be wrong. But yeah, I remember they would get into the fights. They would summon the Megazords and have those big epic robot battles. I have another memory of one fight ending in 2 Megazords walking on a river, just calling it a draw or something. The show I also remember watching, Power Rangers Dino Thunder. Yes, where they had their Megazords as dinosaurs. I specifically remember they literally summon their dinosaur Megazords, which are, for some reason, like monuments in London, like the Big Ben or like the London Eye. It's somehow just morphs. Again, I could be wrong, but they morph into the dinosaur Megazord. I'm just thinking, the poor people using the attractions. What about them? They're getting stuck in the ride.
Did you guys remember when they did like the crossover episodes, like how Dino Thunder and like Ninja Storm, how they were fighting them because they were like under some type of spell, and then SPD with Dino Thunder. Though I think Operation Overdrive. Oh goodness, what did they do? What did they do?
I know it's bad, but I still like it. There's a really good twist in Overdrive. That's like really
I
good.
know what it is. But
from what I've seen, I think they've just stuck to a formula and they've kept it up because it's good quality children's entertainment. It's really corny, it's really flashy, and for children's programming, it works for Saturday morning fun. Absolutely.
Especially, martial arts. I mean, I guess that was one of the main reasons why I stayed in martial arts was because of Power Rangers. And look at me now.
One of the neat things about it for me, like, of course, I'd be sad that at the end of like each Mystic Force going into like Overdrive, I'd lose the characters I cared about. But that actually really did a lot for storytelling purposes in my mind, because each like season is a different theme and different characters and a different story. And there's so much you can do with that. Like you can have one season where you're in the future. Aliens have been integrated into human society. And what does that mean? And then you get another season where it's like, oh, there was this magical war. And now we're using magic. And then you get RPM, which is literally like the apocalypse happened and we're trying to regain control of the Earth.
Pretty much like the darkest season of Power Rangers. I was like, oh, we're going through, whoa, okay. In a kid's show? Oh, okay.
RPM is Power Rangers for adults. There's no abandoned building district. People die. I love RPM. It's so good. But we are specifically talking about Mystic Force. Callum,
Mystic Force.
Magical Source, Mystic Force. Callum, did you have any interaction with specifically Mystic Force before today?
Not really. Although, when you told me to watch the vampire episodes of Mystic Force, I was looking at Power Rangers on Netflix. At first I thought, that's not on Netflix. But then, boom! Practically all the Power Rangers shows on Netflix. I was like, whoa! We got a lot of Power Rangers shows on Netflix.
Well, they don't have, like, the second half of our Beast Morphers. But besides that, yeah, they have everything.
Actually, the second half of Beast Morphers is supposed to come out Thursday, supposedly, according to what I was on. When I was on Netflix, because I was literally watching both episodes, it says something about Beast Morphers coming Thursday, so maybe it might be coming tomorrow.
I hope that's true, because I was watching Power Rangers Mystic Force, and I just was sitting there like, God, I want to watch like a whole Power Rangers season again, but I've already watched all of these. But now I have RPM, and my time is coming.
Well, like I said, with me, for my experience with Power Rangers, like, I think the first Power Rangers I've ever seen was SPD, and I fell in love with that. And then I checked out, the older seasons. It's just, I know it's different for everybody. I know, like, all the 90s people, all the 80s and 90s people were like, Mighty Morphin's the best. You can't touch Mighty Morphin. But, like, I grew up in the 2000s. I'm a 2000s kid, literally born in 2000. So I grew up with more of, like, the Disney era. It's not the best, but I still enjoy it because of the nostalgia. I'm not saying that Mighty Morphin's bad. I still think Mighty Morphin's pretty good. It's just, I prefer the stuff that I grew up with, so I'm a little bit biased on the stuff that I grew up with, but it is what it is. But I think we can all agree that Megaforce was one of the worst seasons of Power Rangers.
Oh, agreed. I honestly, like, I said this a minute ago, but I honestly think that Mighty Morphin is a bit overhyped, if you ask me. Because I'm not gonna lie, I think Mighty Morphin isn't even the best in terms of the Zordon era, which is just Mighty Morphin, Zeo, Turbo, and In Space. I think In Space is the best, and I think Zeo is probably the second best. Don't get me wrong, I love Tommy. I love all of the Mighty Morphin Rangers. But there was just so much filler back then and not like a big, meaty story. And anytime they did do a big, meaty story, like what happened with the Green Ranger, it was really, really good. But the later seasons are like exclusively that. Like In Space is just big, meaty story. So I think In Space, honestly, is better. But without Mighty Morphin, we don't get In Space, and without In Space, we don't get all the rest of the show. And without the rest of the show, we don't get SPD or Mystic Force. Mystic Force,
as they went.
indeed. Well, sometimes they were improving as they went. Once again,
They were
Megaforce
learning.
Operation Overdrive.
Yeah, Megaforce Operation Overdrive. Ooh.
There are some bad ones. I don't like.
I did not like the Blue Ranger in Operation Overdrive. I thought he was so annoying. And I feel bad for the actor. I'm pretty sure the actor probably went on to do better roles, but here it's just so cringy. And don't get me started on Megaforce. Like it was trying to build up to like this big grand finale with all the Power Rangers. And I know not all the actors came back. I mean, I actually did meet the Red Samurai Ranger at one of the Comic Cons, and he said that he wasn't there. He was only there for the episode that he was in, and that was it. He wasn't in like the grand finale. But like that build up was kind of disappointing. It just was not a good season. I'm sorry.
Agreed. Megaforce was one of the biggest television flops, in my opinion. But we're not here to talk about Megaforce. One day, if you, the fine viewers, want it, we'll review Power Rangers episodes by the season. I would love to do that. But today, we are specifically looking at 2 episodes of Mystic Force that are Halloween themed. But just in case you out there have not seen Mystic Force, like Callum before these 2 episodes, here's a brief history. And this is going to be very abridged, so I do recommend you watch the show yourself. But
I get it. Abridged. That's actually an SPD episode. I get it.
So, here it is. So, thousands of years ago, there was a big war of magical monsters and evil creatures trying to get to the human world and attack it. And they were led by this terrible demon creature known as the Master and his followers. And they needed to combat each other. Like the wizards of the world stood up, and it was the first magical war. And the wizards succeeded, but not without the loss of 5 rangers. They were basically Power Rangers, but they were wizards, and their powers are what are currently being used in our current team's morphers. But that current team has some members that I need to describe first. Number 1 is Chip. Chip is very important in these episodes we're about to talk about. He is a zany, outgoing nerd and my favorite character in Mystic Force. Chip wears a superhero costume to school and prom, and he is a unapologetic, outgoing weirdo. Then you have Xander. Xander's a little more smoother, confident in himself, even if sometimes he's not the wisest person, but he definitely wants to be. Xander...
He's pretty much like before Flynn Rider was a thing. Before Flynn Rider from Tingle, we had Xander. I'm just saying. I'm getting a lot of like Flynn Rider, Eugene Perturba drive.
It didn't happen in these episodes, but Xander he has a plan that he calls Plan Xander, and it's where he'll walk up to monsters and say, "G'day, name's Xander," and he'll try to talk to them. And usually these monsters have knives and no faces and could eat people. But nope, Plan Xander will still always be negotiation.
Or more specifically, they do have faces, but they never move.
Pretty
well, I'm
much
referencing... And some of them don't have faces. And the ones without faces, the scariest ones of all.
Slenderman.
Just a Power Rangers season where they fight Slenderman. I'd watch it. But next up is... Well, Xander kind of considers himself the leader at first, but he slowly comes around to Nick, the Red Ranger, being the leader. Nick is not a very good leader at first. He's not one to accept responsibility. He seems kind of worried in the face of evil. And he is actually the last of the team to learn how to use his magical powers. But
and
he
all
is a
you
cool...
have to do is say, "I believe in magic." That's
He said, I believe in magic. It didn't work because he didn't actually believe in magic, which is stupid, Nick, because people around you are using magic. If you see someone conjure a snowstorm, magic's real. No debate. If your friend is shooting lightning, magic's real. And yet he still didn't believe in it.
And then we get the sisters. We get the sisters, Maddie and Vita.
Indeed, Vita is an aspiring DJ. She is also a big focus of these episodes. She's kind of her. I gotta be honest, Vita isn't as well developed as some of the other characters, but she is very stubborn, but also kind-hearted and caring. There's specifically an episode where a monster actually comes to the Rangers out of fear that he's going to be used for evil, and Vita is the only one who trusts him and tries to stop it from happening. Vita is probably one of the deeper characters, even though she doesn't have a ton of development. And last but certainly not least is Maddie, the Blue Ranger. Maddie is shy, but definitely the heart of the team, where she's always there to remind people of who they are. It's her inspiration that helps Nick take on the main villain at the end. And she's just there helping out and being kind. She's a sweetheart.
Turned to stone in one of the episodes. Oops, spoilers.
There is also Udana. She is our Zordon for this season and used to be a Ranger herself, but Korak...
May she rest in peace. May she rest in peace. The actress that played Udana actually passed away.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
I think several years ago, I think after Mystic Force, I heard that she passed away, so may she rest in peace.
The of her magic will live on.
Yes.
But speaking of her magic, Korag steals her snow staff and she's no longer able to morph. But she still sticks around because she can still do magic and help out in other ways. We also have Claire. She is Udana's niece and also her apprentice. And there are more characters that show up later, but that's who we have right now. Besides, Necrolai, who is also important, is a general for the Master. There's
She's vampires. Spoilers.
And there's Lily, who hangs out at the record store where all the Rangers work, and is just kind of annoying for them. We'll learn more about her towards the end, though. Anyways, how did the Rangers become the Rangers? Well, Udana, disguised as an old man, reaches out to just a big group of people and tells them that her brother is lost in the woods and she needs help. Everybody refuses because the woods are dangerous, except for Nick. Nick goes in and takes the other Rangers with him, and that is why they are chosen. At first, Nick is unable to master the powers, but towards the end, he has to defend the other Rangers from Korag. Korag is an evil villain who believes in honor, and it's a little weird, and he's constantly sparing the Rangers, but, he's cool, and he looks cool, and he was the closest thing to a Purple Ranger at the time, so I kind of love him.
Let's get down to business.
But that is
gonna fight until you do something honorable. I'm out.
Well, literally, there's one, in Dark Wish, which is the best, Dark Wish 1 and 2 are, the best episodes in Mystic.
I think there's 3 parts. I think Dark Wish has 3 parts.
Oh, it might, actually. My mistake.
Yeah.
Well, essentially, the villains win. And Korag helps the Power Rangers take back the world because without honor, he didn't like the win. And Nick says something along the lines of, so you want to take over the world, but not if you don't do it nicely? And that is exactly Korag's character to a degree. He wants world domination, but he doesn't want to be a scumbag about it. I don't get it. But he's a cool character, and he looks cool, and he's got a deep voice, and he's got a big wolf sword. He's cool! Just let the man be cool! And there you have it. That is the recap of Mystic Force. So now you are one of us, Callum, a Power Rangers zombie to live out the rest of their life as a shell. How do you feel?
I think he's going through this phase. He'll get over this phase. Don't worry.
It's morphing time.
Well, actually, like I did earlier, you're supposed to use a phone. You put in the code, and then you say magical source, mystic force. That's the transformation thing for the season.
So social media, too much time indoors.
So I'm sure everyone wants us to jump into this episode, but real fast, if we could talk about the theme song and the outfits for a little bit. What did you guys think of the theme song? Callum, I'm specifically interested to see what you think, because you've told me in the past you don't like this specific style of music, and you're not a Power Rangers fan, so I wonder if you like it.
Does Charisse want to share her opinion first?
Sure, Cher, go ahead. You like this song. Cher?
I might have.
What is your opinion on the song?
I like it. I mean, I'm not really a rap person, or, hip hop and stuff, but, after watching Hamilton with you guys, I'm. So, yeah, I actually like it. It starts off with this mystic theme, this the fantasy type theme, and then it goes into come to Power Rangers, come to Power Rangers, come to Power Rangers. All right, let's go. It's time to turn it on. Set the record straight. Yeah, and you get the rest. I actually liked it. It's short. I think it's sweet. Although some people say it's one of the worst theme songs of Power Rangers, but I still like it.
I agree with you. I like this song too. I think the reason I like it is probably the same reason everybody hates it. It's different. It's usually you get a rock beat for Power Rangers. SPD is really good. I think Dino Thunder has one of the best though.
Power Rangers roar.
There's a light in the distance. See
it coming closer. Centuries combine.
It's so good. It's stuck in my head.
And hey, and I agree. I'm gonna add on something. Hey, at least they didn't do what the later seasons of Power Rangers. I'm talking about the Kneale Saban era. At least they kept doing Go Go Power Rangers.
Yeah.
At least they were different, guys. So come on. I mean,
You
I
need to
know
verb
we're
it.
Go Go Power Rangers, but come on, can we just be a little bit different, please?
Let's be
Alright.
original. Go ahead.
Yeah, the song, I must admit, I took time to listen to that theme song again, but I just muted myself and had to listen to it because I was like,
I thought you.
I can't remember.
That's why when Cher was like, "Okay, Callum, what's your thoughts?" I just went right ahead and gave mine because I knew you were listening to the song. So Callum's thoughts are, it's pretty forgettable.
Yeah, what can I say? It didn't make too much of a good first impression. If you forget it. Anyway, but yeah, it does start off with quite atmospheric and groovy, and it does have a different atmosphere to it, but at the same time, it's still upbeat, and you can still tell it's still Power Rangers. You can tell just from it, but just like the intro itself, it sells off the show. It's different, but it's still Power Rangers. Yeah, it's got a mystical, but
yes.
there's a beat to it. Yeah.
Sorry. I have to give a shout out to this YouTuber. His name is The Unusual Suspect. I don't know if you guys seen his videos, but his Power Ranger videos where he basically inputs other movies or TV shows into the other Power Rangers theme song. The reason why I'm wearing this Harry Potter robe was because he did a Harry Potter video using the Mystic Force theme, and it's really good. He did Avengers with Mighty Morphin. He even did like the Nostalgia Critic with Mighty Morphin. He used Jurassic Park, I think, for Dino Thunder. Yeah, that would make sense. He even used Black Panther for Jungle Fury. Like, go check out his YouTube video because it's really good. I've seen all his like intros using like different movies. Like he used like Star Wars for Lost Galaxy. I think it was pretty great. That's why I'm wearing this robe.
I agree. I've actually seen that guy too. But what do you guys think of the suits? Because like I think part of the whole it's different thing also plays to the suits because these are the only ones to feature capes. And I gotta be honest, I love the helmet design. I love like the runic look. It's so cool. I love these suits. They're probably some of the best.
However, I'm pretty sure Edna Mode would not approve of these outfits.
Not
Yeah.
capes.
Not
Okay.
yet.
No capes. But I love it. I like these suits. They're good. They're different. It's okay to be different.
I think Vita actually looks the best. Like specifically the pink suit. Like her helmet has a really good logo on it, and I like the white pants. It's a good design. I like it. Callum, do you have thoughts?
Yeah. Obviously, the colors and patterns have to synchronize well as not only be eye-catching, but also categorize the person who wears it. You got the pink Power Ranger's got this butterfly aesthetic on her face, which is quite creative. You got the green one who has some kind of a cow one on his face.
I think it's a minotaur.
A minotaur. Okay. You got the red one who's got like a phoenix eagle thingy. You got the yellow one who also has an eagle phoenix thingy. And you have the blue one who has some kind of more fluorescent looking design there.
Yeah, Maddie's a mermaid. Maddie's a mermaid, so I believe I think yeah, so Vita's a fairy, Maddie's a mermaid, Xander's a minotaur. I always get confused with Nick and Chip. I think Nick is the dragon and I think Chip is the phoenix.
Well, here's the thing.
I don't know if I got it right or not.
Here's the thing, I got you. Nick is the phoenix, but he's also the dragon. You see, it turns out like Nick is the light and like the chosen one and is connected by two magical parents. So because of that, Nick actually has two beasts. He has the dragon and he has the phoenix. Chip is actually a thunderbird.
That makes more sense.
Well, it's cool. It's lightning. What I don't get, if I can talk about this for just a second, they all have like magical connections, like Nick, Phoenix, Chip, Thunderbird, Xander, like the Minotaur, and Maddie, Mermaid, except for Vita, who is just a butterfly. Why?
I thought she was more of a fairy, more than like a butterfly. I thought she was more of like a fairy.
She's
that
supposed
would
to
make
be
more sense.
Okay, you may have just explained it to me then. Maybe it's supposed to be fairy wings.
Yeah, fairy wings come in all different sizes. Just ask Tinkerbell and her friends.
Yeah, I will ask Tinkerbell, the real life living person. Next time I see her when we go bowling.
Obviously, she's going to use pixie dust to pick up the bowling ball.
Oh yeah, it's too big to pick up. She's small. Bowling ball crush, Tinkerbell. Well, anyways, with that, I think we've reviewed pretty much everything. And I think we're good to go into these episodes, which are called
Stranger Within, parts 1 and 2. Ooh. Spoopy.
So
now,
these episodes
technically this isn't really like a Halloween episode, but it has vampires. And vampires are known for Halloween stuff, so I think it counts.
I count it because when it released on television, it was around Halloween. So this was, for all intents and purposes, their Halloween episode.
And fun fact, this is actually the first episode. These were the first episodes I've ever seen from Mystic Force as a kid. I was scared, but I liked it anyway.
I mean,
Scaredy cat. Me. Scaredy whiz.
these episodes are like, for lack of a better word, kind of filler. Like, they're important because they build upon the characters, but they're also, weirdly enough, their own self-contained story. Like, I noticed they even explain what everything is in this episode. Like, when they go to use the Xenotone, which is literally a magical book of everything they don't know. So if they need like help with something, sometimes the Xenotone will reveal secrets to them. AKA, it's a plot convenience. I think that maybe they plan this episode as its own story. But with that, do you guys want to jump into the synopsis?
I think so.
All right, go ahead and start it off, Callum.
Right. So in these particular episodes of Mystic Force, we see all our heroes, the five of them, as well as some other extra friends who are there for the ride, hanging out in their sort of hub shop of some kind. And the Pink Ranger, who has short dark hair and sort of tan skin, is wanting to go out for this really cool DJ party that's been advertised on posters. Anyone want to take over? Hello?
Sorry, my brother came out and I was like, oh God, I hope Callum remembers the episode.
Lily. Oh shoot, I am so sorry. My dogs are barking. Sorry. So Lily pretty much is like, hey, who wants to go with me to this like awesome, DJ, party thing, whatever. And they're like, and Nick is like, nope, we have business to do. And Vita's like, well, I want to go. Well, actually, first Xander wanted to go first, but like Nick's like, no, we have business with him too. And Vita's like, I'll go. She's like, no, we also have business together. She's like, but I want to go. She's like, but Nick's like, no, we need to find like this Fireheart thing and stuff. We need to learn more about that. And she's like, okay. And then she's like, oh wait, guys. Oh, by the way, I'll catch up with you guys. I'm just gonna like look through all the shelves before we close. And then she goes into the party anyway.
Well, something subtle about that like scene where she reaches out to Nick first. It was established beforehand in different episodes that Lily like kind of has a thing for Nick. And this is just them flirting. But every time like he flirts, Xander will always come in and be like, hey, you can flirt with me. And usually she shoots him down. This is the one time that she doesn't shoot Xander down. And she's like, yeah, you can come with me. And that's a little bit of foreshadowing to what happens later at the end, the reveal with Lily. But yeah, so they get to this dance club. They do DJ Fly. And obviously, with a name like DJ Fly, he's actually a fly person. The music is hypnotizing. What was that? Yeah.
DJ Fly's in disguise as a human being.
Yeah, it's magic. Like, you gotta remember, the whole theme is, like, magic, so he was in disguise with magic.
Very
because that's how magic is. Indeed. So, Vita is seduced by the magic. She's just chilling there. And off-screen, she becomes a vampire, which is important to the next episode. So she comes in, she apologizes that she bailed on everybody. She's feeling weird. And Korag, through Nick's head, contacts them. Nick has a psychic connection with Korag. And they don't actually touch on that connection a ton, but they do explain it later. They have been challenged to a fight. And they're a Hideax, which are the minions of this season. And they attack the Rangers.
Because they're hideous, guys. You call it hideous because they're hideous. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
There were early villains that are named like Dark Spectre and there is a villain named Treacheron. They go on the nose with Power Rangers.
Because he's treacherous. get
Is
it.
That
Oh,
sounds,
I get it. That's
sounds
so
like a
funny.
child's idea for a Decepticon character.
Well, weirdly enough, actually, if I recall, Trecheron is the one that's all about loyalty. So he's kind of just badly named. There's also, like, literally, there's one, I can't remember her name, but it's basically, I am Evil McEvil Pants. There are so many dumb names. Even Necroline is a little on the nose. Yeah, okay, so there is a villain who is a rocket, right? Like, he is a rocket that has been mutated with magic. So they decided to call him Louis Kaboom. And for a good 13 episodes, Louis Kaboom is the villain.
13 episodes?
So weird.
It may have been a little less than 13 episodes. It may have been like 5 or 6, but I remember Louis Kaboom being important back in Zeo.
It's like if Bullet Bill from Mario became a major villain.
I also remember someone named
It
Sinister.
reminds me of, like, oh, sorry.
Oh, you're good. Keep going.
Oh, it reminds me of that very, like, that for one of the first episodes of Powerpuff Girls with, like, Sedusa dressing up as Miss I'm a Good Lady.
I remember that.
I don't know how I did not catch that as a kid. I'm a and a good lady. I'm like, Miss I'm a good lady. I was like, how did I not catch on to that? Oh, it's Sedusa. She can seduce you with her hair.
Rita's name is literally Rita Repulsa.
Repulsa. That sounds like that sounds like a prank name that Bart Simpson would use on Moe.
Hi, I'm looking for Miss Repulsa.
Hold on, kid. I'll get you. Miss Repulsa? Come on, I'm looking for Miss Repulsa. Miss Repulsa.
I'm telling you, Power Rangers does not know subtlety. They have never met. Also, another thing is, like, with this season, it's kind of okay. But another thing with Power Rangers is it likes to murder science. There are episodes where people can breathe on the moon. There are episodes where you can time travel and absolutely nothing happens except, dinosaurs are back on Earth. And that affects nothing. I'm just saying, like, this season, SPD and RPM are kind of okay, but I know for a fact there's some stuff in Ninja Storm where it's like, I'm sorry, what? Like, at one point they say, oh, you can't destroy a Power Ranger until he's at his full power. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, 12, like a good 5 seasons ago, another villain did destroy a Power Ranger, and they weren't even morphed. You're just dumb, Lothar. Shut up.
Oh, Lothar.
There's also
Oh, yeah, he's from Ninja Storm. That's right. Yeah.
But back to this episode. Vita is acting a little strange. Everybody's kind of picking up on it. And Chip, because of him being his awesome self, kind of figures out that since, like, oh, wait, no, they fight Korag first. They fight Korag. And
Well, like, yeah, Vita takes up the Hideox, like
all by
that.
herself.
Pew, 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 pew,
All
pew.
by herself, unmorphed. And
oh my gosh, yes. And then, yeah, they go into, like, the robots. Oh my gosh, I actually think this was pretty creative, how they have their own robots. And then, like, then eventually they combine together. But, you know, I thought that was pretty cool. Like, Vita's, like, is, like, so tiny. And then, like, Xander's is, like, the biggest one. And I thought it was, like, pretty cool. Oh my gosh. And then the spell. I have to tell this story to you guys. So when I was watching this episode, I didn't have any headphones on. So when Korag said a spell, I believe it was I think I have it right here. I think it was Sumbo Unthos Equestrius or something like that. My dad, being the dad he is, thought he said, "Suffer Budimos."
Definitely a dangerous fate. Wouldn't wish it upon my worst foe.
Suffer Budimos. I'm like, wait.
That's when he's summoning Catastros, right?
I don't know.
You mentioned Equestrius, and that means horse.
I don't know. It was one of the spells. I can't remember which one. I don't know if it was the Castros or the Equestrius, but it was like Suffer Budimos. I don't know how we got that.
Yeah.
I don't know how we went from that to. I don't know.
Moving on, they all fight Korag, and they're actually doing pretty good. Like, they're fighting as a team, they're doing great. And the sun comes up. Vita collapses. She can't do it. Next time we see her, she's in layers. She is trying to stay out of the sun. Chip figures it out. She's a vampire. So Chip tells everybody. They all laugh at him. But Chip is smart, so he keeps a clove of garlic and a handle in his pocket. Like,
beautiful.
Well, the thing that's funny to me isn't that he had the garlic, because of course you hear vampire, you get the garlic. I just found it funny that he had a little handle for it. Like, he mentions at one point he bought this, and I was just sitting there like, where do you buy garlic handles? That is the weirdest invention.
Garlic has layers. We have layers. Ogres have layers.
And ogres are green, like and the Power Rangers. I'm just saying.
Shrek. I feel like Chip could probably I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be the goofy version of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Oh my god.
The villain in Dino Charge kind of looks like a cyborg version of Shrek. His Sledge. By the way, that's another. There's a villain named Sledge. There's one named Heckle and Snide, and they have a Heckle and Hyde relationship. I'm just telling you, Power Rangers is not subtle. It goes all the way.
Did we mention it was corny?
Oh, it is a little corny, but it's so good. I like corn.
It's always going to be corny.
I prefer my garlic. Thank you very much. I love garlic.
Garlic has layers. Ogres
have
have layers.
You know, Cher used to like garlic too, but she stopped eating it a couple weeks ago. That's around the time when she stopped showing up in mirrors. I'm just saying, I think Callum's a vampire. All the evidence points to him.
No! No! I refuse! I could never be a vampire even if I wanted to. I've got garlic. I'll be right back.
Yes,
Talk about Power Rangers. I'll be right back. I'm an old vampire.
Then again, it is nighttime for him. It's 10 for him?
Oh, he's not a vampire, Cher. You and me are the vampires. Have you ever wondered why I don't show my face on here? Cameras can't capture my reflection.
Oh yeah, in the next episode they were explaining about that, or actually in this episode they're explaining oh yeah, Maddie took Maddie took a video of her sister, and then a couple scenes later she's not in the frame, or not in the camera, so yeah.
But she is at first, which was a little weird. Anyways, yeah.
I don't know where Callum went. Oh, Callum went to go get some garlic.
He went to get garlic.
There. Garlic clove.
Honey, you're so blurred I can't even see that.
Why do you have garlic?
I have a garlic clove, and I'm gonna eat it. It's beautiful.
Don't eat the uncooked garlic clove. Put it
Why
down.
not? It's fresh. It's amazing.
Garlic.
It's amazing how the smell of garlic can just get
Oh,
on your
God,
fingers.
camera's on.
Fragrant.
How long has my camera been on?
Mm. Oh, yes. Yes.
Has my camera been
So
on
glad
this
I
whole
got-
time?
Mm. I don't know, but this garlic's great. Mm.
Cal,
Oh, a little bit of spice. Mm.
Cal,
Oh, spicy.
me and
Oh,
Sharon are vampires and would appreciate it if you didn't get garlic breath.
oh, what's the matter? Not wanting to eat some garlic or whatever?
I don't like garlic.
Oh, this is so good. This is so good.
You have totally derailed the whole episode.
Anyway, there we go. I've got my garlic at the ready. We're gonna fight off this vampire.
Well, yep. Let's fight off the vampires. Speaking of doing just that, that's what Chip does. After everybody leaves, Vita's like, I am a vampire. And she totally attacks him. And had she not said, I'm a vampire, maybe Chip wouldn't have had time to grab his garlic clove. But he did. He gets it. He puts it in her face. And yeah, she tells him she doesn't actually want to, like, eat him. But she has to because she's a vampire. In a shot on, like, a swing that is never in any of the other episodes. That swing and that moonshot is exclusive to this episode. And where did that swing go?
Nobody
I
knows.
might- You got a tree and you didn't make use of that particular part of the tree?
They made it, like, I'm just questioning it because Power Rangers, like, really tries to save money here and there. So why did they build a whole set for this one scene that never, ever shows up again in the rest?
Save money, live better. Walmart.
Well, anyways, you know the rules of, like, undoing vampirism. You gotta go kill the vampire that bit you. So they go to the dance bar where Vita gets hypnotized again.
Well,
What
I
was that?
they have a conversation where they're trying to talk along, but she keeps trying to eat him, but she keeps showing up the garlic, and then they go off to that same DJ party where they try to confront the DJ Fly who hypnotizes, as you say, the characters. Sorry, I had to establish that first.
Well, yeah, you're right.
Actually,
talking
DC's
about
fly
fun.
actual name is Flytrap. Get it? Like Venus Flytrap. Yeah.
Power Rangers is so subtle. Guys, you know, Louis Kaboom, guys. So subtle. So, oh, but another thing is they have, like, a pig character who, he might be a gorilla, I guess. And he's like a general, and his name is literally Sergeant Silverback. You know? Like a silverback gorilla.
Wonders never cease, eh?
Power Rangers is subtle, man. Just so subtle. So, anyways, they go back to DJ Fly, and Vita gets hypnotized again. She goes into a trance, but it looks like Chip is doing the same thing, that he's going into the trance, and this is where Necroli comes out, and it's revealed that Necroli, the Queen of the Vampires, was behind this whole plot. You see, DJ Fly, or Flytrap is his villainous form, is actually turning random people into vampires. And their plan is they'll be vampires, they'll destroy some of the city at night, and then during the day, they themselves will all turn to dust.
Dust! Dust!
Well, it's honestly a very effective strategy when I think about it. Like, yeah, turn your enemies into your undead servants, and when the sun comes up, they die too. That's very smart. But notice, and this is also a little foreshadowing for the next episode, Necroli says, no, Flytrap, don't touch the Ranger. Leave him for me. And Flytrap doesn't turn Chip into a vampire. this, of course, leads to the reveal that Flytrap isn't the one that turned Vita into a vampire. But before that, it's revealed that Chip has earbuds in. He's listening to some very beautiful Power Rangers music. He's got the theme song blaring in his ear, so he didn't hear any of what Flytrap did. He didn't hear the song. He didn't go into the trance, and he has an unmorphed battle with Necroli. And I gotta say, I don't know if you remember like her flipping Chip, and he does like 3 spins in the air and then hits the ground. Power Rangers has the best fighting choreography, man. Like, it's always so cool to watch. I like that scene. Anyways, they fight a bit, and she's about to kill Vita because Vita's still in the trance. So while morphed, Chip jumps in the way and takes the full front of the blast. And you know the blast was powerful because afterwards he demorphs. What was that, Cher?
Nothing.
You're whispering. What did you say? Cher?
Absolutely
Are you dead?
nothing of significance, apparently. Anyway, you were saying, Kneale?
Well, moving forward, Vita is upset with Chip because, you know, Chip could have killed himself. So she's like, hey, next time don't save me. You could have saved all of those kids that got turned into vampires. Save them. And Chip actually talks about their past, which is something we don't get a ton in this specific season of Rangers. But the reason they are friends is because when Chip was in school and wearing his like superhero suit, everybody would mock him and make fun of him and call him stupid and stuff. But Vita actually stood up for him and defended him several times. And because of this, like, he has extreme loyalty to Vita. I really like Chip. He's always been my favorite Ranger in this season. One of my favorites of all time, probably number 5. But what was that, Cal?
I was just thinking, really? That must be astounding then.
Well, I have a favorite Ranger for every color, and Chip happens to be my favorite Yellow Ranger.
Well,
Here's to you, Chip.
Pink would be Jen, right?
Pink would definitely be Jen. Jen is the only Power Ranger that's a leader. She's so cool. Although Blue, weirdly enough, is the one I struggle. I think it's Sky from SPD.
I love Sky.
I really like RPM Blue though. Like, he's so good. He's so good. But to continue. What was that, Cal?
Wonderful, yes.
Oh, by the way, since I'll boost myself a little bit here. Remember how I earlier said I know the name of every Ranger ever? Even though I just said RPM Blue to avoid saying the name, his name is Flynn. Power Ranger flex right there. I'm cool. I'm popular. My family doesn't hate me because I love Power Rangers. I'm popular. One day I'm gonna marry a Power Ranger.
Look, Flynn, you need to calm down, okay?
And at last I see the light.
I'm being sad in song. But to continue, they eventually Udana talks to the other Rangers and is like, "Hey, dumbasses, we live in a world of magic. She might actually be a vampire." And so all the other Rangers decide, oh shit, she's a vampire. Look at this footage we took of her earlier. She's a vampire. So they go to hell.
When you look into the mirror, you won't see the vampire. So the same works for video footage, apparently.
Oh yeah, It tracks. It tracks for me, at least. But Necroli and Flytrap have now got all the teams destroying the town. Necroli leaves. Flytrap is about to let them die in the sun. The Rangers show up. There's a battle. And Power Rangers Supreme. They kill Flytrap and last minute using the Megazord. And all the other Rangers, all the other teens turn back into normal people. It's a big win. They all go back to the record shop. Chip is talking to Nick. And he's like, hey, Nick, Red Ranger, check it out. I got a whole vampire kit. I've got vampire garlic, vampire holy water, vampire gun. I got a gun. Also, vampire chalk and vampire... Wait. Vampire chalk? Yeah, so there's this chalk, and if you draw a circle around a vampire, the chalk is supposed to prevent them from being able to leave it. And as a joke, they draw one around Vita. And notice that he's about to draw it around Lily, too. But then she steps out like, ew, keep your chalk away from my shoes. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting right there. So anyways, the circle is drawn. Bam! Vita's still a vampire.
Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Which is Stranger Within Part 2, right?
Stranger Within Part 2.
Another thing to notice with specifically these seasons, the guy who made SPD and at least one of the guys in charge of SPD, SPD Mystic Force, Operation Overdrive, and I think Jungle Fury, he was in charge of titling the episodes. So because of that, he did this weird, pattern. All of the episodes in SPD have one-word titles. Like, the first one is called Beginnings, the last one is called Endings. They've all got one word. In Mystic Force, each title is 2 words. And in frickin' Operation Overdrive, it's 3, and Jungle Fury, it's 4. I think that's weird for your titling, but it fits this episode. So you get stuff like Korag's Duel or Dark Wish. It's only ever 2 words. Power Rangers, stop being creative.
It's a Dark Wish.
Well, yeah, but you don't count A. That's not a word. That's a letter.
Well, it's an article.
It's something. It's just sort of there, you know? The other 2 words are hanging out, having a good time, enjoying their date, and there's A.
Oh, yeah, Petrified Xander. Yeah, Petrified Xander. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a weird theme. So, in this episode, no kidding around. They're like, okay, we got to figure out what vampire bit Vita. They take her to the headquarters, draw the circle around her.
Kneale, you were right. It's only Dark Wish.
Oh, I was right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see that A left the other 2 words alone, because A is a creeper. So, continuing, there's no playing around this time. We gotta find this vampire. Vita, you gotta stay here at Root Core, which is the name of their HQ. So they come to the conclusion that since Korag can always contact Nick, maybe Nick can contact Korag, which he attempts to do and succeeds. They're trying to talk to Korag because maybe he can confirm whether or not it was Necroli. And of course, there was an earlier scene where Korag was like, oh, this isn't honorable. I don't like it. I'm going to go hang out in the woods. So anyways, they do this, and the Rangers go to face Korag. But Udana stops them and says, hey, I'm going to go do something else. Someone's got to watch Vita. They get Claire to do it, but while they're explaining, to Claire, you can't let her out for anything, Chip leaves and fights Korag on his own, which is a really cool fight scene because you don't get a ton of like Korag versus Chip. Chip uses his lightning powers and demonstrates how powerful he really is, and Korag decides, oh, you did get more powerful in strength. Cool beans. That means my honor system will let me kill you now. But
He's pretty
before
much Zuko from Avatar.
it's weird though, because Zuko actually did actual honor.
What's the difference between Zuko and this character? This character pretty much leaves any fight where his opponent is weaker, so he decides they're not worthy for a worthy fight. And he even gets told off by the villains by this, but he says, no, it has to be equally fair to be honorable.
Well, I think the difference is Zuko wasn't fighting for honor. He was fighting to reclaim his honor. Like, he had lost it because he was such a disappointment to his father and his nation. So he's fighting to regain this sense of like honor and this good person he could be. Korag just thinks he is that person even though he's evil. And he's on the side of evil.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow.
I guess he just wants to play fair, if that counts.
Yeah, and I guess I kind of get that, but like, if you're a bad guy and you're killing people, like, you're already a bad guy. Honor's not really shit anymore. You kill people.
It gives more nuance to the character. Even though this is a Saturday morning cartoon about corny villains fighting corny heroes.
There's this one character back in like Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. I think his name was Galvanax. I don't know. Anyways, this character was like kind of like a knight. Like he trained the main villain. He trained the main villain to be a good fighter, and he was loyal to her. But what ended up happening is she fused with another character, and she became super, super evil, and she started attacking him. But the thing is, he was honorable and refused to fight her. So even though she was just wailing on him and killed him, he was still too honorable to like attack his student. So he just let himself die. I think that's more of an honor situation than I'm a bad guy who kills people and stuff, but I will totally not kill the Rangers sometimes, just cause. He also refuses to like attack little girls or children, and later on, I can tell you, Korag definitely attacks like big groups of people who don't have weapons, so...
Hypocrite.
He's not honorable to me. He's just... Oh my god, you know what Korag actually is? Korag's a hipster. No, he is. Korag keeps saying, oh, I believe in honor because honor is so cool. But then he doesn't do honor. He just talks about it. He doesn't even like what he says.
Yeah, you're judged by your actions, not by your words, I'm afraid. Words only go so far. You could talk about world peace, but still be the world's worst terrorist.
So
I mean, I'm not...
So pretty much he's a hipster critical. Hipster critical, is that the right word? Is that the right word? Hipster critical?
Hipster critical. I like that.
I think that's the right
Honey.
word.
Yeah. Honey.
Korag does confirm to them, though, that Necrolai is the one who bit Vita. Meanwhile, Vita is pretending to be sick to get, I forgot her name for a minute. Claire. She's trying to get Claire to let her out. And we cut back and we see Claire is in the circle. As a kid, this blew my mind. So, all the Rangers get up and she's like, sorry, I thought Vita was sick, so I let her out of the circle. And then she trapped me in it. They ask her if she's bitten. She says no. They ask her if she knows where she went. She says no. And then she's like, oh, could you get me out of the circle? So they erase the circle, and Claire walks out and then goes, oh, I'm going to go find Udana. And she leaves. Xander remarks, oh, what kind of idiot would let her out of the circle? And then the real Claire walks into the room. Turns out Vita just used her magic to make her look like Claire. And she tricked the Rangers that way. Which has a kid...
Oh, that makes sense. Oh my gosh. As a kid, I was so confused. I was like, wait. I was like, what? Wait, why are there two? I was so confused as a kid. Now it makes more sense. I was like, wait, she just got out, but then I was like, did she use like a duplication spell or what? I was like, what's going on? Now it makes more sense.
The thing is, when I was watching that scene, I was just thinking, they're all a bunch of frickin' idiots.
Well, here's the thing. That would have fooled me. Like, if somebody was like, okay, I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire, I look like this other person. Hey, your vampire friend trapped me. I would have let him out. I would have gotten eaten by a vampire that day. That would have worked on me.
I would have get suspicious. I think I was thinking of something else in that scene. I didn't trust the entire situation. I just thought that, okay, either she's been bitten and turned into a vampire and is tricking them. But either way, I would not get rid of that vampire circle, whatever was happening. I would just leave the situation as it is, just do the talking. They were fooled. Yes, they were completely fooled.
Yeah, that's the beauty of their plan. Like, if Claire actually was Claire in that scene, she could have just walked out of the circle. But the fact that, like, she didn't, like, thing where, like, if I would have, like, saw this happen, but only seen, like, the end where they realize it wasn't actually Claire, I would have been like, oh, you idiots. But I totally would have fallen for it, too. Like, that would have got me.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yep. Power Rangers outsmarted me yet again. Again, Louis Kaboom. Best villain name ever. So, anyways, Vita goes to Necroli. Necroli gives her the ability to walk in the day without damaging herself. And she gives her a bunch of apples. Meanwhile, Udana and Chip are crafting a crystal that can destroy the Queen of the Vampires. It's the only thing that can destroy her. And luckily, Udana, earlier when she left, she went to go get the ingredients to make this very crystal. So Chip makes it. He makes a lot of jokes about being a sorcerer and how cool he is. And then Vita shows back up at the Rangers HQ with the apples. They are poisoned.
Well, they were actually first trying to look for Vita because she mysteriously disappeared, and then she ends up going to the DJ, not the DJ, but like the music store, and she just appears out of nowhere. She's like, "Hey guys, I'm back," and Maddie was really worried about her sister. She's like, "Where's my sister? She has to be up there somewhere." And Nick was like supportive. He's like, "We're gonna find her. Don't worry. She'll pop up somewhere." And all of a sudden she's like, hey guys, I'm back. She's like, "Sis." She's like, "Oh, Maddie, it's okay. I'm fine. Nothing happened to me." Or did it?
The leader of this group, an older lady, arrives and rightfully points out, awfully convenient for you to take her out on your own while still under the influence of vampirisms.
Yeah. So Vita's story, like when she comes back and like reunites with Maddie and stuff, once they take her to Rukor, Vita's whole story is, oh, I fought Necroli, beat her on my own. Udana is skeptical, but they believe her because she walked in the sunlight and didn't turn to dust or anything. So they do believe her.
Quiet, sister!
But then Sorry, I just realized you were referencing Hocus Pocus. So Chip is a little skeptical. He does this little sign him, and Vita have been doing, which is basically just a sideways peace sign beside your eye. They do that together. Well, he does it thinking she'll do it back, but she doesn't. And at first, Udana is skeptical, but they're all going to eat these apples. And Chip...
No, don't eat the apples. Have you guys not seen Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Have you not learned what happened to Snow White?
Have you not watched the very popular show Once Upon a Time? Nothing good comes from apples. Ever. An apple a day does
Except
not...
applesauce. Applesauce is good.
Applesauce is good.
But I don't like apple pie.
I don't like applesauce. I don't like apples at all. Fuck apples. Apples are dangerous.
I'm more of a
Stuff
strawberry
vitamin C.
type girl.
Stuff the
You say
fiber.
so.
Stuff the nutrition. Be gone with thy apples.
I'm just saying...
I'm more strawberry. I'm a strawberry girl.
Look, I'm just saying you don't see, like... You never see the friggin' episode where the evil witch is like, here, take a bite of this banana. There's no poison in it. No, it's always an apple. Which is weird, because you would think like it would be easier to inject poison into like a banana because they're like cylindrical. But I digress.
Well, apple seeds have cyanide, so...
My God. The apples want us to die. That's why the witches use apples. They're allies.
Again, I'm a strawberry girl. I pretty much like anything strawberry. Strawberry milkshake, strawberry shortcake, especially the show. Strawberry juice. I don't like strawberry jam for some reason.
I'm not a big fan of fruit. Like, I'm not a big fan of fruit on its own. But in terms of juice, like, once again, I've always been a lemon lime kind of guy. Shout out to Zombie.
Strawberry soda, strawberry cheesecake.
Yes, Callum. Go ahead, my friend.
I just remembered this joke from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. We have these tripled ice cream, snow. Everyone's like doing like reverse snow angels on the chocolate and vanilla, but no one's on the strawberry section. This one kid goes
Strawberries!
And the kid goes, strawberry's my favorite, before collapsing.
Strawberry ice cream. Yes, I love strawberry ice cream,
Strawberry
especially in Politan.
Hmm.
As a kid, I thought it was Napoleon ice cream, and it's supposed to be Neapolitan. I kept saying, it's Napoleon ice cream, and everyone kept looking at me like...
I was told as a kid it was like Neapolitan ice cream. So I would always call it Nepo ice cream.
I would say Napoleon ice cream.
We shall advance, and then we will take over Viva la France, which has delicious triple-flavored ice cream. They shall never see it coming.
The Power Rangers are no match for France.
Strawberry yogurt.
Oh my God! Napoleon's advanced on Waterloo! It's morphing time! So anyways.
Salad. Yummy, yummy.
Power Rangers. So Vita gets away from the group, even though, like, spoiler alert, the apples were poisonous. They turn into, like, black mush. And then, like, this kind of annoyed me as an adult, but I didn't notice it as a kid. After he swats away the apples, Maddie just yells, "She's gone!" And it cuts back to where Vita was standing, and yeah, she's just gone. And the reason I dislike that is because the entrance to Root Core is a giant dragon's mouth that has to open up. Did she exit for that? Like, did she open the dragon before she let... I don't understand the world.
Don't question it. Just move on. Don't
This
question
is
it.
the same
mean-
world where people can breathe on the moon. You established that earlier.
People can breathe on the moon. Yes, that's a plot point. There's
People
also
have garlic candles. I want you to just remember that.
there's also a plot point when in Dino Charge they needed a lot of light to destroy a crystal. And even though they could just throw it into the sun, instead, they broadcast a signal all across the whole planet of Earth and get everybody in the world to hold up a mirror. And that's how they get the light to destroy the crystal. everybody in the world, including us, held up a mirror and killed the world. That's how we did it. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. Then let's finish this. Vita reconnects with Necroli, and they begin to fight the Rangers. Necroli is, of course, a lot more powerful than them, but Chip has his bow weapon, and he put the crystal on one of the arrows.
It's a crossbow.
Vita gets in the way. Chip isn't going to shoot her. Vita gives her little signal, though, and Chip realizes that she's regained control for 1 second. After he got in her face and was like, "I love you, Vita. You're my friend. You're my friend." So, anyways,
Friendship is magic.
I guess the real magic was the friends we made along the way, and also the stuff that made giant robot horses.
My little pony.
So, yeah, they fight Necroli, and Vita jumps out of the way as he shoots the arrow. She explodes into little pieces. Necroli is totally dead. But Korag decides...
Or is she?
Korag decides, hey, you guys beat Necroli. You can come fight me now. Vita is free of the vampire. Indeed. You're honorable. Now that you've killed somebody, you have honor. Because that's freaking Korag's definition of honor. Oh, people are dead. Hey, fight me. So he fights them in the Megazord, and Chip's loyalty to V did something with their magic and unlocked a new piece to go on their Megazord, which is fittingly bat wings. So now the Megazord can fly, and with that new power, they whoop Korag's ass, something fierce. Korag retreats, and everybody goes back to the record shop to celebrate. It's good night. They explain to Lily, oh, I wasn't really a vampire. I was just kidding. Lily seems a little nervous. She leaves. And then they have a nice laugh. But then it's revealed that Necroli didn't actually die. The Queen of Vampires is immortal. And she meets up with Lily. They have a fight. This is the first time we see that Lily can fight. And it is revealed that Lily is actually Necroli's daughter. Dun, 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 dun. And that's where the episode ends.
Oh, they seem to be working together as mother and daughter.
Yeah, so what did you guys... Callum, has your introduction to Mystic Force, were these good episodes for that? Were these bad episodes? What did you think?
I'm going to take a wild guess and just say that the way they handle the enemies, I'm guessing that the purple guy keeps reappearing for the sake of honor, and they keep fighting villains who keep getting in the way, and they do magic and stuff. Am I correct in assuming that there's a sort of formula?
Spoilers.
Well, I'm not ashamed to say that, you know what, I think this is okay to say. So later, it's revealed that at one point in his life, Korag was a good guy that got turned into a bad guy. So I won't say anything else, but that's why he retains the honor.
Okay.
There is a bit, here's the thing, there is some formula to it, But Korag doesn't in the fight in every episode. He does it a decent amount to the point where, like, the villains actually hold a trial to see if they should, like, kill him because he's hindering process. But Korag definitely is an intimidating villain sometimes when they use him right. So what did you think about specifically these episodes here?
I think the concept of someone turning into getting a curse, that's quite scary, and certainly makes a driving conflict to try to find a way to fix it. But of course, I am very much familiar with the flashiness of Power Rangers. The fight choreography is obviously the best part. It's just so energetic and extravagant, as it were, even if they again get quite cornered with certain expressions sometimes. But to be fair, they kind of have to, since they're not always showing their faces. So they have to do it very theatrical, which is quite interesting because I've actually worked in theater, because when you're in the theater, you have to be more exaggerated with your movements and your facial expressions to reach the people at the very back of the audience. But with a film, it's usually more subtle than that, but unless you're doing stuff like Power Rangers.
Yes, Power Rangers is the series where you have to yell fire every time you shoot a gun.
Fire!
That's not a
Fire!
joke. Operation Overdrive is probably the biggest defender of it, but literally even the villains, anybody, you using a gun, you have to say fire and then shoot the gun.
Yeah, like in SPD, when they're in their Zords, they do like a countdown. They're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire.
I always kind of accepted that one because in that one the Power Rangers are like police, and therefore I always like viewed like counting down before they do the attack, kind of like reading them their rights. Like, you have the right to be shot to death.
It's judgment time.
We are turning you into a little card, and you have the right to remain silent while trapped inside of the little card. Anything you do
you're now part of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Now you can collect them all. Well, that's
what you want. That's a. What's weird is like in Time Force, which takes place in the year 3000, they turn their like enemies into action figures. So it's just so weird to me that like within 1,000 years, you would go from like trapping bad guys into cards to turning them into full-blown action figures. Like, why is our jail system in Power Rangers specifically themed around toys? I don't get it.
We gotta sell toys. We gotta make that, we gotta sell all those merchandise to those boys and girls. Gotta get that money.
Speaking of merchandise, look at their... But Cher, what did you think about this episode? Because it was actually kind of you that inspired us to do this episode.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna be biased. Unfortunately, you shouldn't be biased. But I grew up with this series or this season. This was actually the first episodes that I've seen of Mystic Force, and again, I was scared because of Vita when she got turned into a vampire. Those red eyes were freaking me out, but I liked it anyway. I liked the choreography. There's some parts that are kind of questionable. Yeah, very, very questionable, but I liked it overall.
I agree. I think Mystic Force, I like Mystic Force a lot. Like, when they do character stuff, it's, like, really good characters stuff. And with this episode, I really like Chip. This is probably one of the, like, I'm not gonna lie. I love Chip because he's so zany and weird. He's, like, this nerdy guy, but also, like, actually has monster hunting equipment. He's like the nerd's dream, where he has all the outgoingness and all of like the eccentricness and none of the shyness. You don't see him shy. I just love the character, and to see him hang out with Vita and show their connection, this is definitely a good episode for him. And I think it's probably one of the better parts of this episode. I didn't think Flytrap was all that cool of a villain, but hey, we got to fight Necroli. That's always cool. So, yeah, I like this episode, but I don't really view it as a Halloween must. Like, there is some stuff, like Hocus Pocus, I watch that pretty much every Halloween. I would also say that episode of Gargoyles we saw, that I think I might start watching every Halloween. But
Oh yeah, and then there's Wizards of Waverly Place. I mean, again, biased here. I love Wizards of Waverly Place. I always watch all the Halloween. I watch the Halloween episode and all the verses every single year. Like I watch the vampires, the werewolves, the angels, everything, the asteroid, zombies. Yeah.
Well, here's the reason why I brought up the Halloween thing. There is a 2 or 3 part episode called Dark Wish. It's probably one of the best episodes in this specific season of Power Rangers. And I gotta say, it's a better Halloween episode than this. There are some spooky moments, specifically when the villains take over, the entire world turns to black and white. There's some really scary scenes where, like, the music store owner finds a music box, and music has been outlawed in the, like, evil world. So he's just cranking this music box towards his ear, and then the bad guys, like, grab him, crush the music box, and attack. There are some creepy scenes in Dark Wish. I don't think we got enough creepy scenes. Like, I would have liked it if maybe one of the Rangers got knocked out or something, and Vita is just about to turn them into a vampire. Like, I think we needed a scene where Vita was a threat to the others. Because at the end, when she's fighting everybody, it doesn't feel like she's a threat because she didn't do anything dangerous yet. Like, she tricked them, and she tried to eat Chip, but literally every time she got close to Chip, he put garlic in her face, and that was treated more for laughs. So, I don't know. I think this episode could have been better, but I love the character building of
Cal,
it. So.
it looks like you're giving us the middle finger.
Are you holding the garlic?
Yeah, he's holding the garlic. It's just like when he kept going back and forth, it looked like he was giving us the finger.
You're so blurry, man.
I know, he's really blurry.
Garlic. It's garlic. Love it. Love it. Love
Garlic.
Shut
up! Yep. Garlic has layers. Onions have layers. Ogres have layers. We all have layers.
Like
Shrek is God. Our Shrek is God.
Cake! Everybody loves cake. Cakes have layers.
Cakes do have layers. Donkey is right. But
What about that
let us move on to Kneale's merch corner. Ladies and gents, if you can get your hands on a Power Ranger helmet, I always recommend that. But some Power Ranger seasons don't have helmets. Some of them got masks, but not all got helmets. Of course, you can get Mighty Morphin Power Ranger helmets pretty much anywhere. Specifically for the Red Ranger, the White Ranger, and the Green Ranger. But we are talking about Mystic Force today, so I am going to give you some of the Kneale Mystic Force lore. Number one, if you want a Mystic Force Morpher, that is something you can get, and it looks exactly like the show. I know this because I owned 3. Another thing you can do, the main weapon in this game, the main weapon in this show is called a magic staff. You can actually buy that magic staff too, and once again, it looks exactly like the show. I know, I owned one. It has changeable crystals, so you can have Xanders, you can have Nyx, or you can have Chips. And it also rotates, so you can have the axe, the crossbow, or the sword form. So, if you're a nerd like yours truly, Power Rangers Mystic Force has got you covered. They also did helmets for the Fireheart Ranger, They sold Korag's sword at one point, which I also owned. And Udana's magic staff, I think they sold that. I'm pretty sure they sold that. And if you want to find these things, you're going to have to look at eBay because they are not going to have them in stores anymore. They need like a Power Rangers store with like all of the old crap. Because I got to tell you, I would spend hundreds in that store. More than I have any right to spend. Usually this is where we would talk about the theme parks. But Power Rangers ain't going in a Disney theme park. So, instead, I'm introducing something new to the show. This is a review, so I ask you guys, what should Power Rangers do now with the Mystic Force team? Like, let's say we get the Mystic Force team back for a reunion. What should we do with them? I'm interested to see Callum's pitch, considering he doesn't watch the show.
All right, picture this. It's nighttime.
Picturing.
It's
Nighttime.
Disneyland Paris. Or Florida, wherever. And
Wait,
then-
so even though I just said this has nothing to do with Disneyland, take it to Disneyland. All right, I'm with you. Let's go on this adventure.
I didn't even listen to you. That's how bad of a daydreamer I could be sometimes. But then a Megazord appears as a parade float. And then you hear it. The Mystic Force music. With the Mystic Force team dancing the Mystic Force dancing.
The Mystic Force dancing?
Yeah, why
What
not?
do you mean?
They do that all the time. Kind of like, with just they just gotta choreograph their kung fu and do it to the rhythm.
Oh, so I see. So instead of actually dancing, you're saying the Power Rangers will be attacking, watching the parade.
That's
I'm in this.
talk about audience engagement. They've made it even better.
Yeah. So the
Well, there
Power.
was an episode of Jungle Fury where they combined dancing and their moves together, so.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, that didn't happen in Mystic Force. So I like to believe that in Callum's dream, they're literally just attacking people.
I didn't even listen to you with the no Disneyland part.
Cher, were you listening to me? Can you do the right thing here?
Just do the next right thing. Take a step.
To
Step
repeat
into
myself, sir, what we are currently doing, because Power Rangers is not going to end up in a theme park, we are pitching where the Mystic Force cast should have a reunion or something, what we could do with specifically this property if given some more stuff to do. And I thought it was interesting that you will have to pitch something because you don't know the show that well. Cher, do you have any ideas? What would you do with like the Mystic Force cast? Hello? Did I lag out? Oh, you have hiccups. Okay. I can't hear you guys.
I had the hiccups. Ooh. Oh, gosh.
Oh dear.
I don't know. This is gosh, sounds
You guys hear
cliche.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, go ahead, Jer.
Gonna sound cliche, but a new generation where, they're teachers and sorry, I have the hiccups, so I have to watch what I say. They're like, teach. It's kind of like like Harry Potter, whatever. Their teachers are teaching like a new generation.
Like a Power Rangers.
Forces of evil. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah.
Fun fact, that's what Ninja Storm was originally planned to be. Like, Tommy was going to be the Green Ranger in that, and it was essentially going to be a Power Rangers Civil War. But you guys want to hear my pitch?
By all means. By all means.
I didn't really have one ready, but sort of when like this series ends and wraps up, magic is still a thing. So I think I would have a team up episode with it could be like a team up movie with one of the like maybe the current Ranger team where they get to go to Root Core and they get to go to like the Briarwood and stuff. And we get the next chapter of the story. Maybe find out that like Imperius, who ends up being a pretty big villain for this season, is back and we have to take him out. We see where all of the characters went off. Maybe see how they interact with the new team of Rangers. And have a nice little episode where we visit Mystic Force and get to know him a little more.
I get it. Imperial. That's so funny.
Again, Power Rangers and Southern. You see, right now, if you were like a monster in Power Rangers, you would be Hiccup Pina. Get it? Because hiccups. Callum would be Scottishio because you're Scottish. And
Yeah.
I would be Fat White Guy EL.
Wait, what happens if I didn't have the hiccups? What would it have been? What
You didn't have you would be Disney Fandioid.
If you're going to call her
Makes sense.
Hiccup, if you were going to call her Hiccupia, that would somehow be less subtle than the main character from How to Train Your Dragon.
Dude, I'm telling you, Louis fucking Kaboom.
No.
Wait,
And with that-
who's the one who comes up with the names?
I don't know. You just look at the Rocket Man and you're like, oh, let's call him Louis. Well, what's he do? He's a rocket. They go kaboom. Louis
That's all you need to
Kaboom.
know.
I don't get it, man. I don't get it. They also have a son named Sprocket.
Sprocket.
Also, the creature that wears a lot of gold, his name's Goldar. And with
Somehow
that, ladies and gentlemen,
Less subtle than Goldfinger.
I think
Or more
Power Rangers is lovable, but there's a lot to hate in it. I love Power Rangers, but one day I'll be like this jaded fan who's like, fucking Louis Kaboom, oh my god. Fuck all of it.
Almost Halloween, guys.
Yep. And we've reviewed a lot of like Halloween stuff. Like by the time this video goes up, Halloween's gonna be literally right around the corner.
Indeed.
We gotta review something good for our next episode. We gotta get back into the magical world of Disney, right? Some of Disney.
Wait, I hear something.
What do you hear? What do you hear, Cher?
Who are you?
Cher, do you hear that?
He can't see your name. Sorry, I can't. You can't see him. He's trying to tell me we can't say. He can't say his name.
Wait, Cher,
Are
we
we
can't
playing
see him.
straight?
Cher, are you saying that you see dead people? Are you talking to a ghost right now? Wow, welcome special guest star, a random ghost talking to Cher. Cher, what is this ghost's name? Could you get it for us?
I'm trying to. He's playing charades with me.
Okay, you
two
wait,
words.
Cher.
Two words. Okay. What's this? Bug. But okay. Something bug. But beetle. Okay. Second word. Okay.
The second word is Bard. Beetle the Bard from Sweeney Todd.
No, it's not that. Okay.
Beetle the album.
Drink. Water. No.
Abbey Road.
Soda.
Beetle.
No. Orange juice.
No.
Okay. Orange juice. No. Oh,
Beetle
remove
orange.
the orange.
Beetle
Juice.
orange.
Juice.
Oh my god. Wait,
Beetle
Cher.
and
You
juice.
saying that the next episode we're gonna review Juice Beetle?
Juice.
No. I think he wants me. No. Beetle was the first word, and juice is the second word.
Beetle
Beetle.
the juice.
Juice. Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice?
Beetlejuice!
It's showtime. Join us in the next episode where we review Beetlejuice the musical. Goodbye, everyone.
That was
Bye!
a Disney property?
No.
Nope.
And why is this? You're